Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, then hi, welcome. My name is Anna, and today I want to share with you my fertility story, what health conditions I had that kept me from getting pregnant, and how I was able to treat them to be able to get pregnant. So my husband and I have been together for over 16 years and just about 14 years married. But even though we have been together that long, we did not start trying to have babies for probably about, 11 years after we started dating. So like 9 years after we had gotten married. And mostly because, we were in our early 20s, we were not financially stable, we were working minimum wage jobs and living paycheck to paycheck, and it wasn't the right time. So finally, when we did start trying to get pregnant was mid-2015, and I do have a family history of infertility. I was only on birth control for about maybe the first 2 or 3 years of our relationship, and after that we kind of just used our own version of natural family planning. Forward to 2015, because of my family history of infertility and also because of 9 years of baby dancing and not being on birth control and not having any accidental pregnancies, I was just scared. I was scared that there would be something wrong with me, and so I decided to seek help right away, and not necessarily like a fertility specialist, but I looked into going to a naturopath, and I actually found this awesome clinic that is a birthing center, and the naturopath is also a midwife, and I just thought that was perfect because then she could also be my midwife once I got pregnant. And so I decided to make an appointment there and just sort of have everything checked. On that initial visit, I voiced my concerns, and even though fertility exams and treatments and things like that are not really offered to people who have not already been trying for a long time, she did sympathize with my situation, and because I had a family history of infertility, she decided to continue to see me as a fertility patient and was helping me out at first with just supplements and things to get my body prepared for pregnancy. The supplements that she recommended that I take were pregnancy prep, Vitex, evening primrose oil, I don't know why I can never say that, prenatals, of course, iron, which almost everyone is low in iron, and vitamin D. I live in the Pacific Northwest, and so literally everyone is deficient in vitamin D. So I started taking those right from the beginning. I did make another appointment with her to see her just a few months later to check on progress, to see if we had actually gotten pregnant and how I was feeling. My husband also started taking just regular vitamins, and both of us quit drinking alcohol. On that next appointment I had a few months later, I got a very extensive blood panel test done, and once I got the results of that, I found out that I had a 2-variant MTHFR mutation, gene mutation. Before I actually got diagnosed with this, I had never heard of that before. I did a whole video on MTHFR and how that affects your body, what the gene mutation is, how it affects fertility. If you are interested in seeing that, I will link that in the cards up above, and I will also link it in the description below. Check it out if you're interested, it's really crazy. Once I found out that I had this gene mutation, I had to add a lot of vitamin B supplements as well as a lot of folate supplement. I was given a methyl factors liquid, which apparently in the liquid you can process things easier, or your body can process them different. The methyl factors has vitamin B6, vitamin B9, and B12, as well as the natural form of folic acid, which is actually methylfolate. Pretty sure in the last video I said methylated, but apparently the real name of the natural form of folate or folic acid is methylfolate, not methylated folate. I don't know. Another result from that blood test is that I was really low in iron, really low in vitamin D, which, like I said, almost everyone is, but I had already been supplementing for a few months with those, and I was still really low, and so I had to actually take more of those and supplement even more with those because I was still low. I continued taking all of these things for almost about a year and a half and didn't really have any follow-up appointments. I was honestly just trying really hard to get pregnant. I, of course, was like doing all the research I possibly could. I started tracking all of my fluids. I started tracking my ovulation, and I still wasn't getting pregnant. So I decided to make another appointment with a naturopath, this time with the intent of having more extensive fertility exams and testing done. I wanted to make sure that I got all the testing done myself before my husband went in to get sperm testing or anything like that. Once I got the results back from that appointment, I found out that I had hypothyroidism, which apparently is a really low producing thyroid. So I had to be prescribed a thyroid medication as well. Shortly after that appointment, I actually had pregnancy symptoms. I had been tracking my ovulation. I was baby dancing when I was supposed to, like I had been doing this whole time. But this month, it was different. I was really nauseous. My sense of smell was like super heightened. I was having dizzy spells, and I knew that I was pregnant. I could feel it. I told my mom, I said, this is it, like I'm pregnant. Like it had to have just been my thyroid, because now that I have my thyroid under control, like I'm pregnant. And then I got my period again. Oh, I just got emotional. Then I got my period again, and man, that was so disheartening again. And I was actually concerned for my health because I had all these crazy symptoms and I was feeling so weird, but I wasn't pregnant. My period was late, and my cramping was really bad. It was a really heavy flow. I thought maybe it was just because it was late, and I didn't really think that much of it. But because I was concerned for my health, I decided to make another appointment with my naturopath for the next month after that. On that appointment, she gave me a more extensive exam. I also had an ultrasound and some more blood work, and that's when I found out that I had a chemical pregnancy. Before this day, I had never heard of a chemical pregnancy before. I had no idea what it was. By the name chemical pregnancy, it sounds like you get like a positive pregnancy test, but when you're not actually pregnant, but that's not what it is. So a chemical pregnancy is basically just a very early miscarriage. The way that my midwife naturopath explained it to me is that the egg and the sperm meet and they travel down and they prepare to attach to the uterine wall, but for some reason or another it doesn't attach correctly, and you end up passing it through and having a miscarriage. And most of the time these periods will be a lot heavier. They will have clots because you are passing more than normal, and the cramping will be a little bit extra bad. I am a woman that has always had really bad cramps, and the first day of my period has always just been like really crampy, heavy and clotty and just ugly. And so that particular time it was worse, but because I had some like that in the past, and I don't know, it didn't seem that different to me, other than the symptoms that I had, of which I thought I was pregnant, and also the fact that my period was late, because my period was almost never late. When the results were back from those exams, I found out that I had really low progesterone, and my midwife naturopath told me that most likely that was the reason that I had a chemical pregnancy. Apparently, the way that it works is on the first half of your cycle, before you ovulate, your body produces a lot of estrogen to prepare your body for ovulation. And then after you ovulate, the second half of your cycle, you produce a lot of progesterone, which helps your body prepare for pregnancy. So it thickens up the uterine wall, it makes it stickier in there. It's not really exactly like that, but it prepares it so that when the fertilized egg comes down, it can attach correctly and remain attached until after week 12, when things, when the placenta is actually attached to you. So because my body was barely producing any progesterone at all, my uterine wall was not prepared to receive a fertilized egg. So my body was preparing for pregnancy. It was pregnant because there was a fertilized egg, but it did not grab a hold of me the way that it was supposed to, and I had an early miscarriage. She also told me that there is a possibility that I have had chemical pregnancies in the past, and because my body didn't produce enough progesterone, that I passed them through as periods. In some of those times that I had mentioned to her, few times in the last 9 years, that I had late periods and that I had weird symptoms. It's possible that those were chemical pregnancies or early miscarriages as well. So she did confirm the one that I had, and the other ones, of course it's just speculation, but it's possible that those were also losses. To treat my low progesterone, she prescribed a suppository, a progesterone suppository. It's a big white pill that has to go in vaginally once a day, and I had to insert that every day, once a day after ovulation. That month I started testing for ovulation on cycle day 9, and again 10 and 11, 12, and so on, and I never got a positive ovulation test. Now I thought that maybe this was because I had just miscarried a baby, that my body needed time to recover and I just wasn't gonna ovulate. Or maybe I had already ovulated just really early randomly because of my loss. I just wasn't really sure, but I continued to test. I never got a positive, but on cycle day on cycle day 15, I received my suppositories in the mail, my progesterone in the mail, and I decided to just start taking it just in case, even though I had not had a confirmation of ovulation. I don't know, I just thought better safe than sorry, and I had them, so I decided to start taking them, and on cycle day 28, I got my big, fat positive. It was the most beautiful 2 lines I've ever seen in my life. Now, because I didn't actually think that I had ovulated, I didn't actually think I was going to get a positive. I tested because my boobs were kind of sore. I had no other symptom. I was not dizzy. I was not nauseous at all. I did not think that I was going to see those 2 lines. I just, you know, as you do every month when you're trying to get pregnant, you start trying to like think of symptoms that maybe you may have had throughout the month, and I was due to get my period that day, and I couldn't stop thinking about it, and so I decided, you know what, let me just take a test and see that it's negative, and that way I can just get this out of my head and go on with my life. So I took a test basically to prove to myself that I wasn't pregnant so that I can just stop thinking about it, and then I saw those 2 lines and I screamed at the top of my lungs, and it was the most amazing moment of my life, seeing those 2 lines and finally being pregnant after trying for so long. And then, you know, before that, not being on birth control for 9.5 years, and it was just a culmination of my entire life of wanting to be a mom. I have wanted to be a mom since I can remember, and it was finally happening. It was a combination of my thyroid, my MTHFR gene mutation, and low progesterone that all combined into the perfect storm for me not being able to conceive. So that's how I was able to get pregnant. I do want to say there is so many people that are struggling with fertility in a whole range of ways, and I don't take for granted for 1 second the fact that my fertility issues and my health concerns that kept me from getting pregnant, they were easy to fix, and well, not to fix, but to treat so that I could get pregnant. My story, even though for me at the time felt eternal, it was, in hindsight, it really, I'm so thankful that I was able to get pregnant, and I don't take it for granted at all that I didn't have to go through hormonal shots and IUIs, IVF, or even if I would have even had the money to do any of that. We're already talking about the possibility of adoption, and my husband is adopted, so we've never shied away from that, and it's actually something that we might still want to do in the future. But you know, when you're trying to have a baby, when you wanted to be a mom your whole life, like I wanted to experience that. I wanted to experience carrying my baby and giving birth, and then it happened. And I'm so thankful and I'm so grateful, and I just want to say that my heart truly, truly goes out to anyone that is still struggling with this journey, struggling to get pregnant, and you will get there. You are not alone. Talk to people. It wasn't until I got pregnant and I announced that I was pregnant that I also announced the fact that I had been struggling and that we had been trying for a long time and that I had health concerns. And when I finally said that, there was so many of my friends, close friends, that were going through it or had gone through it. And thankfully, most of them now are parents, and it's super awesome to see, whether they went through IVF or adopted or got pregnant naturally. And that has been an amazing, amazing group of support that we now have with all of our young babies. So that's been really awesome. So anyways, the whole point to all of that is reach out to people, because you're not gonna regret being able to have support when you're going through something like this. So that is all that I had to share with you guys today. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. I hope you found it helpful in some way. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when we post next, and we will see you next time. I was holding that in for so long. Bye.